After an extended break due to the global pandemic, D23 Expo finally returned this past Sunday. Disney promised new announcements, from movies to shows, and most importantly, their parks. Considering the extended wait and countless projects on hold from 2019, fans had a lot of hope going into this event. Personally, I was only expecting a few new announcements, but mostly some updates on older projects we hadn't heard from in a while. Even with those low expectations, I was left disappointed, and I don't think I'm alone in that feeling. The consensus seems to be that this was an incredibly poor showing from Disney at a time where they really needed to shine. In this video, I'll be explaining why that's the case, and why their presentation suggests that they are utterly terrified of Universal's epic universe. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoy this video, and let's get into it. Before we dig into the real meat and potatoes, let's quickly recap what was shown off at the event. It kicked off with a showcase of new characters coming to Disney's California Adventure, along with a brand new major attraction for Avengers Campus. This was announced back in 2019, and although the plans do look downscaled, it's nice to know they didn't forget about it like with Epcot. We then saw a re-theme for Pacific Wharf, some new restaurants at Downtown Disney, some updates on previously announced attractions, and oh, that was it. Apart from the last 20 minutes, which we'll get into in a second, this was a pretty poor showing. Some cool new stuff, sure, but all of it was pretty small in the grand scheme of things. Not only that, but the updates on previously announced attractions didn't give us much insight, and we still have plenty of scraps from last D23. Overall, it was certainly a disappointing presentation. But out of nowhere, Disney did something wild. This part of the presentation was called A Boundless Future, and meant to showcase what may come to the parks in the far future. There were mentions of Moana and Zootopia replacing Dinoland USA in Animal Kingdom, and a huge expansion coming to Magic Kingdom, which could include Coco, Encanto, and the iconic Disney Villians. While each of these concepts sound extremely exciting, there's a catch, and it's a pretty big one. All of these are early concepts, just ideas that Disney wanted to throw out there. Imagineering calls these blue sky concepts, where the sky's the limit in terms of what they're allowed to come up with. Think of these as ideas thrown out during a pitch meeting, with only the basic concept or IP in mind. No specific plans when it comes to rides, theming, or dining, as all that comes later down the line. Basically, all Disney has to show are these pretty mock-ups which will in no way mirror the final product. With that being said, it begs the question, why? Why announce these projects so far ahead of time, years before they actually have anything concrete to show? Well, here's my theory. I think Disney knew just how bare bones their presentation was. With the global pandemic paired with Imagineering's relocation from California to Florida, Disney has been in a bit of a recovery period. Their goal, based on what we've seen, is to finish up what was already being constructed before truly getting back on their feet. Despite all this, they knew they had to show something. Anything. With a 3-year wait and Disney's 100-year anniversary on the horizon, there was a ton of expectation on them to deliver this time around. All that was bad enough, but what pushed them over the edge, in my opinion, was Universal's epic universe. Opening in 2025, this park has been garnering massive media attention as construction ramps up. Not to mention, with IPs like Harry Potter, How to Train Your Dragon, and Super Mario himself, it looks like Universal is aiming to steal some of Disney's core audience. Families. While many, including myself, thought Disney would plug their ears and pretend they weren't aware of the competition, I think this announcement changes things. Not only are they listening, they are terrified. Think about it. Disney themselves presented this graph at the event, showcasing that Walt Disney World has no concrete plans beyond 2024. Even then, their biggest new attraction will be a re-theme of an existing one, which isn't the most exciting thing when a whole new park is being built 10 miles away. Making these announcements now is meant to communicate to fans that they're working on something, even if it's years away. I think the most telling thing, though, is how they've only made these long-term announcements about Walt Disney World. That alone communicates to me that what they're worried about is the competition nearby. Disney has been in this position before, too. When Universal unveiled the Wizarding World of Harry Potter back in 2010, it was so much of a success that they became a major player in the Orlando market. Attendance rose dramatically, and that's been sustained as Universal continues to expand. Disney tried to capture that market share with Avatar's Pandora and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but neither were nearly as successful. Disney got the rug pulled from under them, and I think this time they're aware it could happen again. Unfortunately, while Disney parks continue to recover from the pandemic and movement of their operations, Universal has been hard at work. They opened Jurassic World Velocicoaster in 2021 and resumed construction of Epic Universe shortly after. In the meantime, Disney has spent close to 6 years completing a clone of a ride from Shanghai Disneyland. The companies are in completely different states, and by the time Disney gets back on its feet, it'll probably be too late. With that being said, I think this announcement was a really bad call. These ideas are clearly way too early in development, and while I commend Disney for at least being honest about that, it doesn't change the fact that people will look back at this concept art when the real thing is properly announced. Think of the current plans for Epcot in comparison to everything that was promised back in 2019. As ideas become closer to reality, plans change, and making these projects known so far in advance is extremely unprofessional. It's an incredibly desperate grab at some media attention, and practically a plea for their fans to hang on just a bit longer. As someone who enjoys their parks though, I just can't root for them here. With all the anti-consumer practices they've been implementing as of recent, I've already been leaning more and more on the side of Universal. When Epic Universe opens in 2025, I don't think that'll change. While Universal works on what might be the best theme park in the world, Disney is clueless on what to do. And by the time they finally get their act together, who knows just how much more market share Universal will have gained. What do you think though? Is Epic Universe as big of a threat as I'm letting on, or does Disney have nothing to worry about? Comment what you think below, and be sure to like and subscribe while you're down there. If you're interested in more Epic Universe content, check out my series analyzing all the current rumors. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time.